In this episode of Mighty Car Mods, there's only one thing left to do to the BRZ, and that is...
Sell it?
And that is...
Change the brakes. What are we doing?
Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods. I read the comments.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Did ya?
I scrolled down, Mum.
Oh.
I heard about the wheels and the fitment and the exhausts and how your Volkswagen's better and the Evo's better and we should buy a Volvo and where are the Hondas.
Love it. Hate it.
I read about it,
You
Martin.
wrecked it. You love it. It's the best it's ever been.
Where's
Standard.
the purity, Martin? But you know what? That every fourth comment, that's exaggeration. Maybe there were four
Maybe it
comments.
was.
But there were a few comments of people going, this is how you fix your BRZ. Turns out from the factory...
Car sales.
What?
Is that how you fix it?
No. It turns out... Stop it. Turns out from the factory, there's a torque dip.
A what?
That's in a torque dip.
A what?
A vocalizing penis, Martin. There's a torque dip in there from the factory that's probably for some
I
safety
thought you meant the
servicing
person
warranty
driving
issues.
it was a tall...
No. So anyway, how do you fix it? Everybody
Car
says...
sales.
Everybody's like, put some headers on there and get a tune.
What's this?
Because...
Is this the headers?
No, that's the overpipe.
Are you going to explain what that is? Because I don't know what an overpipe. What's
It
an
goes
overpipe?
over something.
Okay.
I don't know.
I
It's
thought
a
it was
pipe.
maybe the torque dip.
No, it's a pipe that goes over the top of something.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, I'm going to show you what's in there in a second. But everybody's like, change the headers, the bum dyno, it's so much faster, it's so much better. I don't give a f if you think it's faster. We're going to the dyno. We're going to check it, man.
What about the bum dyno?
Here's the bum dyno.
Wait, what? What's the bum
Smoking
dyno?
up rubber on the internet. Man, here's the thing. People are like, oh, I just spent $500 on this thing and now my car's so much faster, I can feel it. That's a psychological effect because they've already invested time and money. I think it's called the IKEA effect. That's why people buy aftermarket performance air filters.
We put a $169 turbo in our car and it was faster.
Yes. And
Turbo.
I did buy an aftermarket air filter and that's a story for another time.
Are we doing
Martin.
science today?
We're doing science. Look, everybody that is in the BRZ FRS 86 world, they say the first thing you should do, headers, a tune. We're going to do that. We're going to go on the dyno. We're going to have a look. That's what we're doing today.
Because they've all got torque dips.
They've got torque
And
dips.
now they don't. And we're not going to have a torque dip anymore.
Let me show you what's in the box because I haven't seen it yet. Let's have a look. So this is what we are installing today. This is a performance header. This here is from Ultrex in Western Australia. They gave us the catback system and now they've given the rest of the system to us. Now there are a number of different options. You can get catless ones, you can get resonated ones, you can get equal length headers, or in our case, unequal length headers. Now apparently, and there may be some science about this, that I think you make a little bit less power with unequal length headers, but they sound better, or equal length headers that are catless, you make more power, but they don't sound as good.
Yeah, I mean, catless is going to make more power because Captain Planet hates it, right? There's more flow because there's not a cat in the way. He's locking things up, but unequal is the classic Subaru Boxer sound. He's helped along with its unequal headers.
Why, Martin? Tell us why unequal, because this car should actually sound a bit Subaru-y afterwards, right? Whereas right now it sounds like a paper bag.
Yeah, look, I mean, unequal was the classic setup on EJs forever, on EJ20 Subaru motors forever, and it did help them have that burbly sound. And it's just it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just to do with the length of these pipes and how the pulses meet when you actually get the exhaust coming out of it.
Wait on, so the pulses are meeting in a way that makes them burbly.
Well, because it's not the same length, yeah. If you release it, you release the pulse at different time, and then they sort of hit collectors at different times. These are not the same. These are not the same length. So if you want equal length headers, that would have to be the same length as that.
I see.
Which means heaps more banana-y. So I mean, it's as the comment section is about to tell you. It's like there's a whole big world of pain about what's better, what's worse. If they fit really good, who cares what they sound like?
So there are a variety of different options when you've got performance headers. There's 4-into-2 into 1 system. This is a 4-into-1. We are reusing the factory sensors that should be in there. I hope they're in there. And so that there will go on the front. The catback is already on there, and in between we do that one.
Oh, is that what this is?
Some people have made some comments about performance versus volume, Martin. And some people don't want drone inside the car. Now, loud exhausts are fine, but people usually don't want droney ones that are like super loud. So,
man, it comes back to the same conversation we always have when it comes to modifying stuff, because as we know, purity is more of a thing than it's ever been.
it is.
I don't know why. Purity is a real thing now. The manufacturer will have built an exhaust system to a price and said your budget for your exhaust system for all your BRZs ever is 182,000 yen.
Yes.
Or whatever it is. Is that a lot of yen? 187,000. I have no idea.
That's like $18.
Point is, you can, if you are going to spend money and uprate it, you can get better materials, better size, you can get potentially better flow. Oh, is that the up bit?
I think that's the overpipe,
And
because
this is
that
the
goes
front-
over something.
And this is the front section of the exhaust, right?
Yeah, so once that's on, we're going to have a full exhaust then. We're going to have
awesome.
engine back
Yeah.
for the performances.
Awesome, and we've got a high flow cat in there as well, so Captain Planet is happy, as happy as
Exactly.
he can be when you're modifying your car.
If you're doing pure race car, you can obviously get catless ones. You can get ones without resonators, all that kind of stuff. This car is meant to be able to be driven on the road, so
Well, you need that to stay legal too, so happy
there
days.
it is. Show us what tools we're going to need, mate.
These are the tools you're going to need to swap your headers. Subaru is a bit of a Lego car, so it's like metric 10mm, 14mm spanners, electric versions of them as well, comes in handy. You've got those plastic clips under the car which you might need to pop off and out of the way. Sometimes exhaust bolts can be a bit tricky to get off, so a penetrant like WD-40 is a really good thing to do. Do it before you start and wait and leave it for a while. Often these exhaust systems have O2 sensors in them, so a 22mm spanner will sort that out, or you can even get it in like a socket form where the wire goes up there. They can be a little bit hard to get out, so penetrant on that is a good idea as well. Usually the exhaust systems come with new bolts. Suggest you use them because the original ones are usually quite cruddy by the time you're changing them at this age of the car. It comes with new gaskets and everything as well. That's usually metric, so all this stuff will work. If not, maybe you need some imperial spanners, and that's it.
The first step is to jack up your car. Use some homemade wooden ramps if your car's too low to fit the jack in.
I had a quick look at an online tutorial, removal of headers for BRZ. It says difficulty, extremely difficult, and time 4 to 5 hours. It is 1 p.m. and we're filming an episode. That means we should be finished at 5 or 6 o'clock. I reckon we can beat it.
Make sure the car is safely resting on jack stands, and then you can pop the hood and unplug the O2 sensors. Next, you need to remove the under tray to get access to the factory headers. Soak the header nuts in some WD-40 while you undo the overpipe.
How are we looking over there, mate? Is anything gunky or broken?
Oh man, it's so clean. I mean, how old is this car? 7 years old?
7 or 8 years old,
Like
yeah.
it is so nice for a car that era. You can really tell it like it's a new generation.
Yeah.
Everything is so well thought out. It's all the nice things about when Subarus with, but also rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Like I really like working on it. I'm still not a little bit on the fence as to whether they're awesome or not.
Yeah.
I mean, how well it went on the track is a good example of how awesome it is, because it beat an STI.
Well,
Didn't it,
I mean,
really?
1 second around the lap. But the thing is, it's slower than a Golf GTI.
Yeah.
And people say that. But Golf GTIs are pretty fast.
Yeah.
But they're not that exciting. You know what I mean? And I would argue that in some ways this is more exciting.
And this is seriously fun.
Two of those,
like,
then I
fun
got
and
one more
neat.
here.
All the good things to work on, like easy to get to bolts and
Yeah.
everything where you expect.
One
it
of
to
them's
be.
a bit hard to get to. The other two you'll be fine at.
Watch
but-
your ears.
Yep.
When does that ever happen on a header bolt?
Oh,
Straight
there you
down.
go.
All right, and this one?
Yep, grab that one, then you take the weight of it. All right, so
Should be your side first, probably.
should be, yep, coming down.
It's got to come off here as well. Yes, he's out.
Is it? Okay. All right, there it is. That is out.
Look at it.
And let me just check something. That was legitimately 10 minutes.
It was.
It's now 10 past 1. Started at 1. 10 minute. Extremely difficult. 4 hours. All right, so that is the factory header. The first thing that you'll notice straight away is just how complex this looks, mainly because of the heat shields that are also heavy. This here is really, really light, like way, way lighter. So all we have to do now, which is really simple, is just take out the oxygen sensor. This one goes in here. This one goes in here. So we're just copying exactly what's there. We also have this kind of overpipe to put in. So Marty's just removing the other heat shield. That's the, sorry, not the other heat shield, the under tray shield. What do you call that thing, Martin?
Yeah, plastic under tray. It's got heaps of under trays, man.
Yeah, it's like so many modern cars.
They're
They're just covered in all that stuff to make them look fancy underneath for all that time that the owners don't spend underneath them. So we're just going to put that and that in there and there, put that on, put the other pipe on. Pretty simple, and I'm pretty stoked to find out about all the gains that the comment section told me about.
Use an O2 sensor removal tool or large spanner to remove the sensors and swap them into the aftermarket header. You'll need to do this for the black and grey sensor.
So I'm doing the front pipe and what's known as the over pipe, which now makes sense because it goes over the front cross member. That's normally where you'd have an up pipe that goes up to a turbo and then a down pipe that comes out of it on any other Subaru that isn't this one. This is also one of those moments where you can go, you know what, I can probably get it out without undoing this join, but for the extra 1 minute that it takes to undo those two bolts, it's just gonna make everything easier. I know I run into that all the time where I'm like, oh, what's the easiest way to do it? I'll just undo those two things, but then you spend 25 minutes struggling with it, whereas you could have just undone two more bolts, taken them out separately and be done in 3.5 minutes.
If you're working under the car, it makes it heaps easier if you can use a stand to hold up the exhaust. In our car, a jack stand will hold it up while we remove the front pipe.
Chuck that bit over here.
Might be easier said than done.
Yeah, there you go. Got it, mate. Thank you. Oh, it's a big thing as well, isn't it?
Huge. And then the front pipe, up pipe thing.
Overpipe, Martin.
Overpipe,
I think
sorry.
that's the BRZ talk.
Yep, I'm with you.
If you're going to be a Subaru owner, you may as well use the lingo.
How does this even come out? It's got to be a way, because like surely you don't have to cut that up. Is there a trick?
There is a trick. You need to remove the heat shield from the overpipe and then slightly lift up the engine with a jack, which will make it way easier to remove. It's a good idea to lay out your new system and old system side by side to make sure that everything matches up.
So this here is the factory system. This here is the aftermarket exhaust. Now, you can see by the size of this pipe that the factory system is actually pretty good. So a lot of people actually end up just changing to aftermarket headers and that's it. The main difference that we can see up here, other than those flow characteristics, is of course weight. Moving down, the size of the cat here compared to a high flow cat. Then the pipe continues down. We've got nothing else here. This is straight pipe here. Over here, we've got this thing, which I reckon is probably a resonator that's probably for a specific frequency resonation, which is probably, you know, to try and get rid of some drone or something inside the cabin. And then from here on, we've got our performance catback exhaust anyway. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to start with the headers. We've already transferred over the sensors, so we're going to put that on, bolt that up, and then put the rest on just as we would with any other exhaust, which is basically putting it in place, leaving everything loose. Once everything's perfect, tighten it all up, and then we can see what it sounds like. One of the things we've spoken about a bit when doing mods like this to your car is sometimes the car won't know it's got mods on it until you tune it. And one of the most kind of famous examples of Mighty Car Mods is when we did a full exhaust on the Mighty Car Mods Forester XT Turbo. The car made 125 kilowatts at the wheels. Then we did a full turbo back exhaust and it made 125 kilowatts at the wheels because the ECU was just like, hey man, I'm just going to make the power that I'm meant to make. It's going to be some epic track battle, isn't it?
Yeah.
The old naturally aspirated BRZ versus the STI, both sounding burbly.
Yep.
And both sounding excellent.
Yep.
I gotta admit, man, I'm pretty excited for some Subaru battles. We are just installing the headers, but first, what the fox say? Look at that.
Looks like a fox. There's his nose. There's his ears. He's got ear piercing.
He's mad. Big
old
eyeballs.
Now our aftermarket header can go onto the car by carefully lifting both sides into place over the gaskets and then doing up the nuts.
All right, that's on. I had to get a little stubby in there for the third one. The rest of them I could do with power tools, but we will check them with a torque wrench to make sure they're perfect. And then we can move on to the overpipe and then the rest. You might need to jack up your engine to get the old overpipe on. We ended up taking the heat shield off it, but You can basically undo here and here, put a bit of wood under there, jack it up a little bit just to make some space, some clearance. I don't know if we're going to need to do that or not with the aftermarket one, but we will let you know.
I'm tightening up the header nuts with a torque wrench for 110 cow powers of purity.
Send it up, mate.
I'm trying.
There it is. Thank you very much.
And those little thingies go in there.
That one's in there.
Little plugs.
With the sensors plugged back in, now we can install the rest of the pipes to join up with our catback system. We're starting with the aftermarket overpipe and then we'll move on to the front pipe. The exhaust is on, so now we can reinstall the under trays. And with those attached again, we are done.
All right, so the headers are on and now we've got a full performance exhaust from the engine all the way back. It most definitely does not take 4 hours with extreme difficulty to remove the headers on your BRZ. For us to remove them, replace everything else took less than 90 minutes. That said, there was 2 of us.
That's true, and I reckon the second time you did this, quicker again, because you know exactly which way everything goes in and out, which bolts go where. But yeah, he's so easy to work on.
The only thing we had to work out was with that little overpipe there, we had to just jack the engine up a little bit, which only took, a minute or two to give it the space to go through. But now, it's first start, people.
I want to hear it. Let's do it.
Hopefully it sounds like a Subaru now. Let's see.
Does it match the
Here
badge?
we go. It sounds like a serious exhaust leak.
You know what it sounds like that? Because it's when they first start to warm up the cats, they make like crazy noises.
That's a crazy noise.
Yeah, that's normal. It's gonna be loud, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Should we start it again?
Let it warm up. Yeah, it'll stop sounding so rubbish. Do you remember our Outfap used to do that? When you first started, it would like sound terrible.
That's crazy though.
There it goes. See how it come good?
That's better.
Yeah. Sounds good. Give it a rev.
That sounds good.
Wow. Sounds crazy, man.
Far out, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So now, dyno time. We're going to take it down to the dyno and we're going to see just how much power Headers and a Tune makes to see if everybody in the comments was correct. Next time on Mighty Car Mods. See?
I'm getting some tofu.
Bye, everyone.